The film starts by showing a village. We see a woman named Danny in the house, who was repairing the whole house. Her husband is a psychiatrist, and her husband's name is Ted. Now their new house was in such a place, where there was no proper network. Talking about Danny, she has been working to repair the house for many days, because the house was very old. Now Danny gets such a place in the house with good networks. So she calls Ted and talks to him a little bit, because her time was not passing, she's getting bored. Now in the matter of some work, Ted has to stay in the hospital today. So Danny has to spend the night alone at home, and sets up a tent on the side of the house at the door to sleep. It was too late. After a while, a stranger came to the door, and he was peeping through the window of the door. He talks to Danny, he tells her to open the door, because your life in danger, someone wants to kill you, he has entered your house. Now Danny was afraid of this man, so she refuses to open the door. It is obvious that it was foolishness to trust a stranger like this. This fake patient was talking to Danny very lovingly, looking at his tone and impression, it seemed that he was worried about Danny. And he really wanted to help her. He also tells Danny that if you don't trust me, it's okay, you call the police because your life is really in danger, understand me? Now listening to him, Danny is near the door. Whether she opened the door or not, we were not shown, but with this, we are shown another scene, where we see that something badly kills the patient with that fake eye. Then it was found that Danny was also dead. Someone has also killed her mercilessly. That is, it happened as he said, and now we see the time after a few months, where Danny's husband Ted comes to a shop, where old and expensive things were found. This shop was actually Danny's twin sister Darcy. Darcy could not see since childhood, that is, she was blind. She also had some psychic powers. That is, she was the owner of the unique powers of the brain, like she could feel and see strange things, like ghosts, and magical powers. Darcy was very saddened by the death of her sister Danny. Now Ted used to come to meet her often, but he did not believe in Darcy's straight words, and she claims that I can feel paranormal things. That is, things that ordinary people cannot understand. At this time, she had a bell in her hand. She tells Ted that this bell is connected to the life of a boy, but one day, some took his life mercilessly, and now I can feel him through this bell. Ted had come here to give her something that Darcy had asked him to bring. It was something special that was related to the patient with the fake eye. Because through it, Darcy wanted to find out why he killed Danny, and what he was thinking at this time, so now Ted gives her the thing, that the handkerchief. In the same way, Darcy found out that Ted had now made a relationship with another girl, whom he would marry soon, although Danny died not long after. Now this time, Darcy felt bad, but she did not let it show. Ted tells Darcy about his friend, that she was my friend before, but now because I need some support. So we both made a relationship, and decided to get married, and she worked in our hospital. Saying this, he left from there, but we understand that the purpose of Ted's hospital stay that night could only be his friend, because of which Danny had to spend the night alone, that is, he was already cheating her. Now in the evening, Darcy came to her house. She also brought a handkerchief of the patient with the eye, putting that handkerchief on the table, putting something inside it and taking off her gloves. As she touches it, she sees something very shocking, which she did not expect, because she was very scared and she had tears in her eyes. Now Darcy goes to a storeroom, where she had kept a wooden box. First she looks at it carefully, then she comes and sits next to it. There are many more strange things in this room, which had to do with someone, who can also feel Darcy, who is no longer in this world. Now after this we see that Ted has woken up from sleep. He was about to leave for the hospital, but his friend stopped him. She started showing him pictures in the camera. This camera was actually Danny's, which Ted's friend got. Now the camera was up in such a way that it could make pictures by itself. Like this, she shows Ted a picture taken suddenly, which had a shadow of Danny, although it had been a long time since she had died, and Ted avoids this, but his friend finds it strange. Now Ted does his duty at night, that is, his friend also had to stay alone in this house, but she was scared, because this was the same house where Danny died. Ted tells her, It's just a matter of a few days, then the time of my duty will change, you will have to manage by then. On this his friend says, or not, until your duty at night, I live in my own house. When your duty will change, I will come back. Then Ted agrees with her. His friend had to leave today, and before Ted goes to his work, she tells him that last night, Darcy sent a strange gift, and it was the same wooden box, which surprised both of them a lot. They were even more surprised when they found out that Darcy was standing outside, so both of them bring her inside the house. Now no one had invited her to come, she herself had come. She had come to stay here for 2 days, and Ted's friend was not interested in this, but Ted could not refuse her. Now neither will Ted be here, nor his friend, but still, Darcy wanted to stay. Now Darcy shows them the wooden box gift, which was really strange, because there was a big statue inside. Ted's friend felt very bad after seeing it. Then Ted explains to her, when Darcy leaves, I will remove this statue, until she is here, please prepare her for me. Now Ted left, then after a while, his friend was also going to leave, but her keys were lost somewhere. Ted's friend tried to find the keys a lot, but she does not find it anywhere. Darcy was sitting there very comfortably. It seemed as if she already knew what was going to happen here. Now when she does not find the keys, Darcy asks her, are you not going to leave now? She says no, and now she has to stay in the house. After a while, Ted's friend comes and sees that the statue of a big box is sitting on a dining table. Ted's friend feels strange. She asks Darcy, did you bring it out? Then she gives a very strange answer, that no. Then how did it come out? Now she thought about it, but then ignoring it, she brings food for Darcy, and there are some talks between them. Ted's friend asks her about her work. When she told her, she laughs at Darcy. In her heart, she believed that Darcy believes in witchcraft like a witch. Darcy asks her, how do you feel in this house? Ted replied that she did not feel very good. As happened with your sister, it made me even more confused. Darcy asks her, if a stranger asks you to open the door, will you open the door? She says no, because I am not such a fool. Listening to this, Darcy got angry. She says, my sister was not a fool, and she did not open the door. That is, it is not the patient with the fake eye, but someone else who killed her. Listening to this, Ted's friend says, if a madman like him did not kill her, then who must have killed her? Darcy says, a male nurse, who is Ted's friend, and he works in the same hospital, where Ted is a doctor, and Anne with the fake eye is a patient. Listening to this, Ted's friend feels very strange, but now we see the scene of that night, where that man came to Danny's door. Here we find out that Danny really did not open the door, and the man with the fake eye had really come to help her. Because at that time, someone had entered the house. As he said, he was actually a man wearing a mask, who had mercilessly killed Danny. After a while, Ted's friend calls him and tells him that this Darcy is strange. She talks strangely. She claims that Danny was not killed by a man with a fake eye, but by a nurse working a hospital, who is your companion, and I don't feel good with her. I couldn't even go to my house. The car keys are lost, and I think she has put the keys here and there. Ted calms her down and tells her to close the door of the room and go to sleep. She had gone to her room, but she could not sleep. She came down and saw that Darcy was sitting on the sofa and sleeping, and now she quickly goes to the wooden statue to check it, so that she can see what secret is hidden in it. There were 5 holes in the statue's head when Ted's friend checked it. One of them was Danny, and Darcy's picture came out. One had a tooth and one had a small blood bottle. But in the meantime, Darcy's eye opened, and she said in anger that put everything back. Ted's friend puts those things back in the statue's head, and after she left, Darcy spends the whole night in front of the statue, but Ted's friend was scared. Now to pass the time, she starts watching the video recorded by her in Danny's camera, where she saw a scary face behind Danny, seeing which she was so scared, that the camera falls off her hand, when she saw that Danny's ghost in a corner of the room, which scares her. In the meantime, she finds her keys, and she takes the car and leaves from here. Now we see the scene of the hospital, where Ted and Danny, murderer, that is, the nurse, have a friendship. Both are talking to each other. Now after coming home, Ted sees that his friend is not here. and Darcy is sitting sad on the table. When Ted asks her about his friend, she replies that she has a way. I wanted her to see your real face, that you are such a disgusting person, but my sister's ghost scared her and she left. I really know that you are the person who has killed my sister, because you're in love with your friend. You just wanted to steal my sister's wealth, which that poor girl had already given you. I kept thinking that some crazy person has killed her, and I took revenge from fake patient, but he really wanted to help my sister, and you are her real killer. Yes, I know that now you will send someone here so that he can kill me, but it would be better if you send that murderer. It is the nurse. After listening to all this, Ted says, how can you even think like this? And how did all these things come to your mind? If you doubt me, then let's go to the detective, who is working on Danny's case. But Darcy still doesn't believe him. Ted says, okay, take this, I am keeping my phone here, and I'm going to the detective. I will tell him to call you and tell you, whatever call comes, you pick it up. Saying this, he leaves, and now we see that scene from the past. Ted was sitting next to the same killer nurse, making a plan to kill Danny. Yes, Darcy was absolutely right. He fell in love with his friend, and he wanted to get his property. He just cared about money. He didn't love Danny, and at his behest, nurse killed Danny, because the real psycho was the one who enjoyed killing people. But the question arises, what about the fake-eyed man in all this? So the real thing is that although he was not mentally well, but he was a good man from his heart, he was not a murderer. He had to listen to Ted and the nurse, so that night he went to save Danny, but Danny didn't believe him and she was killed, and because the man was vicious, so Darcy killed him. That's why she said that I took revenge on that man, and then we see that has made a plan to kill Darcy as well. He took out a tile from the floor before leaving, so that when she came pick up the phone, she fell down from that place. He had also given this task to the nurse that you have to kill Danny's sister Darcy as well. He agreed to this task and happily left for his house. Now it calls the number of the hospital on the number of the house, and as soon as Darcy went ahead to pick up the phone, according to the plan, she falls down, and when the nurse came there, he first looked at the wooden statue and then at Darcy, who was badly injured. She had a deep head injury, and due to a lot of shed, she dies soon. But here comes a new twist. Now as we know that Darcy was fully convinced of such things, ritual magic, so by her death, a ritual was completed here, and she already knew her death, so she did not even try to save herself on purpose, and now as soon as she died, the wooden statue suddenly came to life, and he followed the nurse and attacked him. That saved him life and ran away, but suddenly he fainted. When he woke up, he found himself tied on the hospital bed, and Ted was standing in front of him. He blamed Darcy's death on the nurse, on whom the nurse began to beg in front of it, I promise that I will not tell anyone anything, just leave me, on which Ted says no, I can't do such a big foolishness, because if I leave you, then the suspicion will come on me, that why couldn't I recognize a crazy psycho like you? If I don't leave you, I'll be saved anyway, because who would believe you? That a wooden puppet came to life and attacked you. This tells us that Ted is a very selfish and deceitful person, who used people very cleverly. And he used almost everyone, even wife. Now Darcy could have killed the nurse, but she wouldn't let him go so easily. In fact, she wanted to torture him, like he killed Danny and tortured many people. Also, when he was a nurse, he did justice to many people. Now a patient comes to take his revenge from the nurse, and he bites his finger, which made him suffer a lot. After this, we see that Ted, who was looking very worried, came to his house. He sees the same bell about Darcy told the story. He rings the bell and tries to call the soul of the boy, with whom this bell was attached. But nothing strange happened. This makes Ted think that maybe there is no such thing as supernatural, and Darcy is just doing fraud. Also, we know that Ted's friend also left him. In this way, Darcy's revenge from his sister was complete, because Ted's whole life was ruined. And then we see a very shocking scene. The soul of the boy with whom the bell was attached stands with Ted, which means that now Ted is also not going to survive. And with this, the story of film also ends here.